Jack and Chris. Very nice synchronicity. 1 minute till event start.
Okay, thanks. You guys also MCCing in synchronicity as well?
We could try to.
Feel like
Station, this is Houston. Are you ready for the event?
Houston Station, we are ready.
U.S. Naval War College, this is Mission Control Houston. Please call station for a voice check. Please call station.
Station, this is Dr. David Burbach with the U.S. Naval War College. How do you hear me?
Hi, Dr. Burdock. This is NASA astronaut and Navy Captain Jack Hathaway and my colleague, NASA astronaut Dr. Chris Williams. And we've got you loud and clear. How do you hear us?
We hear you great. Thank you very much for joining us. We're here, and Jack, you'll remember Spruance Auditorium, I'm sure. We're here with a crowd of faculty, staff, students. I think some people even brought in some family members. So we are thrilled that you were able to do this today. Jack, a couple of your old professors are here. I know Derek Reveron, Craig Corner, Jim Fitzsimmons, and actually somebody both of you are likely to know, Greer Wilt, flight controller, was able to come down from Harvard and join us today. And we'll have a chance to chat with her a bit afterwards. And also, Jack, I was one of the Naval War College faculty who was able to go watch your launch. Thank you very much for the invite. That was very generous, and you know, it was a terrific experience. So we've had a number of people submit some questions. I'd like to know what life is like on the space station. So, you know, let me start off asking, boy, the Artemis moon mission got a lot of attention a few weeks ago. 30 million people watched the splashdown. Wondering, did you all on the space station feel a little left out? You know, you're up there every day in space, and you know, you're not on TV every day.
Well, I'm excited that all the professors and students and family members are from the Newport area are out there. I had a great time in my year, a little over a year at Newport, and I'm super excited to give back a little bit to you guys. Hoping I can come up and visit again after this. Newport's a great town, and I miss it quite a bit. But actually, I think the opposite of what you're talking about. We're excited. It was our friends and colleagues that were on the Artemis 2 mission. It's our friends and colleagues that are going to be on the future Artemis missions as well. Their successes are our successes. Everything that we've done and learned here in 25 years of human spaceflight on the International Space Station has set NASA, America, and all our international partners up to be able to send people around the moon and eventually to land and start building our moon base there. So the work that we do here is no less, no more important than the work that the crews on Artemis are doing. We're excited for them. We're excited for them to inspire all the young people around the world and play our little part in the chapter that's going on.
Great. We had a bunch of questions that kind of all came down to, what's the daily routine like for crew members on the space station? You know, I can tell just in terms of setting up the call, you guys are very busy and very scheduled. Can you tell us a little more about, you know, what's a workday like up there? Awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. We spend most of our day doing front flips and back flips and practicing our perfect form. But when we're not doing that, we do have a pretty well scheduled day. We get up. We have our day starts at 7:30 in the morning with a planning conference with our control centers and all of our international partners, and then we progress through the day with our day broken down into kind of tasks at the 5 minute every 5 minutes. Some of them may be maintenance, fixing things on the space station to keep keep things running. A lot of what we're doing in the past couple weeks has been science. We recently had some cargo vehicles come up, and so these are science experiments aimed at making life better on Earth or trying to push ourselves further into space, understanding how the microgravity environment affects a whole wide host of things from biology to physics and everything in between. We have some time for exercise, and we also, we go all the way till 7:30 p.m. usually, where we have a sort of an end-of-the-day conference where we close things out and get ready for tomorrow. So a lot of it is keeping up with this red line in our scheduling program, but every hour is different. One day you're doing, or 1 minute you're doing a science experiment, the next thing you're fixing the toilet, and all of that in just one day of work.
Can you tell us any more about some of the experiments that you're running? I know we just watched your Meet Jack Hathaway video. You talked about 3D printing. What sorts of science experiments or technology demonstrations are you working on?
Right before we got on the camera with you, Chris was down at the other end of the modules working on a new exercise device that has a lower profile and is designed to be more forward deployed in the naval parlance, so it can go on Artemis, it can go on the moon. So that's being able to keep us in shape due to the bone loss and the muscle loss that we experience every day up here is a key piece of our mission to go further into the solar system. So that's one of the things going on. We've also got a cold atom lab up here that uses the benefit of the microgravity we experience to be able to drop temperatures even lower than we can drop them on Earth with all the technology that we have there, so we can delve into the fundamental physics that are going on at those temperatures. Also, the microgravity environment allows us to grow different cell cultures, different proteins, different DNA structures in a way that's unencumbered by gravity. It can kind of grow out in its crystalline structure kind of in 3 dimensions in a way where it doesn't have a gravity vector, and that can produce new and exciting ways to produce molecules both for clinical benefit and for pure science research. Also in the last week, we've been growing alfalfa. Chris put in some alfalfa buds just a couple days ago, and we've been watching them pop up. Because obviously growing food in the future is going to be a key piece of what we do. And obviously, I love the 3D printer. We can't take everything we want with us, so being able to print things both in metal and in plastic as we go forward is going to be key to our success as we continue our exploration.
That's great. Speaking of routines, Professor Corner wondered, how does the 90-minute orbital cycle affect your circadian rhythms? Or just, generally, how well do people sleep up there?
Yeah, it's a great question because, we do. We see 16 sunrises and sunsets every day. We operate here on Greenwich Mean Time, as an international space station with international partners from all over the globe. That was just kind of a good time zone to settle on that works for everybody. And I guess fortunately and unfortunately, most of our modules don't have windows. So we do have a wonderful cupola module that has windows, sort of a whole hemispherical view down on the Earth. But unless you're sort of by one of those windows, it really is just, I guess, some of our fellows who are come from the submarine community, I think, could relate to how it works if you kind of just work off the cadence indoors. But I try to make a point every evening of going down to the cupola and looking outside, and sometimes I make the poor decision of doing that during the day pass and getting blasted with bright sunlight right before I'm trying to go to bed. That said, I find that I personally sleep pretty well up here. Floating is actually pretty comfortable. I know it varies. Some people like it, some people don't, but we sleep in a sleeping bag kind of up against the wall. Not that up really means anything, but you're kind of just floating there, and for me it's pretty comfortable, so I actually feel like I sleep pretty well.
Cool. What do you do for entertainment if NASA allows you any free time at all?
This is usually what we do. This is a lot of fun. Sometimes we have competitions to see who can float the straightest, the fastest, or the most rotations without hitting a wall or whatever. But, I mean, it's just like any deployment when you're stuck on a ship somewhere or forward deployed somewhere. Like, you're with your friends, you're with your crewmates. You can make games, you can make activities. We have a reasonable amount of access to the internet here to be able to call home and talk to people. You know, there's a shared drive of movies and TV, and we get a lot of support from different communities to get any sort of shows or activities we want. Photography, yeah, absolutely. Like looking out the window, like you talked about, it's pretty awesome to do some target acquisition from 250 miles up. We're coming from different directions, and you're trying to figure things out and which way you're coming from, and trying to find a small piece of, like, you're trying to find your hometown or your home street. The other day, we were doing a pass up the East Coast, and I was like, I got plenty of time. I'll see Florida. I'll see the Gulf Coast. We'll march our way up. I'll get Washington. I'll get Newport. My home state's Connecticut. Get some photos from there. But that whole thing only took like 3 or 4 minutes. So we're moving at 17,500 miles an hour, and so it's quite a bit of fun to see the Earth from that perspective, take pictures of places you've been, places you've lived, places that you want to go to, and just see the wonder of the world. So there's an endless amount of things that we can do to occupy our time up here.
Great. Yeah, question for Dr. Williams. One of our Navy surgeon students wondered about preparing, how people might prepare to practice medical care in space, or some of the challenges that might come up with, dealing with medical emergencies or medical issues in microgravity.
Yeah, there's a couple of sort of unique challenges up here. I mean, one of them is just the fact that, we're 260 miles up. We're in kind of a remote environment. And so, the only materials and diagnostic tools that you have available to you are the things that you've got up here. So, we have ultrasound machines, but that's pretty much the extent of the imaging we have. And we have a pretty reasonably stocked, but still, limited, amounts of medications and that sort of thing. The thing we do have, though, is a huge amount of support on the ground from our flight surgeons, so that, we sort of have routine check-ins with them, but if anything comes up, we're basically operating sort of remotely guided by them for a lot of different things. And so that's kind of the way we sort of work in that sort of supported environment. The other challenge is just the challenges inherent to being in microgravity. I think anybody that's been in a hospital knows there's a lot of like little things that you open to keep them clean, and stuff flies everywhere. And so thinking about like a very practical thing of how do you manage your workspace, and how do you Velcro tape and get things down whenever you're doing any sort of procedure that involves a lot of different pieces of equipment. Just making sure things don't float away is actually a non-trivial challenge.
I can imagine. I feel like I ought to ask, a War College curriculum sort of question. So let me ask you, how does the international cooperation, or, just generally America being involved in human spaceflight, what is that? How do we, we spend a lot of money on this. How does this advance national strategic goals? How does this advance U.S. foreign policy?
The International Space Station is the center of gravity of a lot of our diplomatic efforts. We work with partners around the world to accomplish a goal that we couldn't accomplish just by ourselves, both in terms of the technology and the capability and the ground sites and the antennas and the resources, but also in terms of the inspiration piece of it, that we're not just here for one country to do a thing by themselves. We're here for humanity, to do the things that only humanity can do as a whole. And there's not a lot of places in the world where that's the case right now, or that's the case where we see our similarities and the things that we have in common more than we see our differences. And being in space with our crew from around the world, Chris launching on a Russian rocket, us having a Russian cosmonaut and a European French astronaut with us on our crew, it just shows that we can accomplish things that we don't think are possible given the other sorts of politics and regional challenges that we have, that we face, that are real and they're serious. But space is also serious, and space is also successful, and we do it together as a human race. And it's one of those things that we can always point to as, hey, we do have things in common around the world. We are similar people. We share some similar values. And on the things that we agree on and we can work forward to, we can accomplish great, incredible things, like sending people around the moon.
Great, thank you. Just following on to what Chris just said about, things floating out, what are, you look like you're having a lot of fun in Zero G, but, what do you find inconvenient? Anything that you found, difficult or inconvenient, or, sure learning to appreciate Isaac Newton and gravity.
Yeah, there's microgravity is really helpful in some circumstances. I was just moving like a 1,000-pound piece of equipment, just kind of floating around, gently moving it with my hands, no big deal. But yeah, there you go. But sometimes it's really inconvenient. I guess this was a couple months ago now, but we have a little dining room table, and I had a bag of a drink bag full of tea, and I had that down on the table, and having a conversation with a couple other people, and it just floated away in the middle, and it took me 3 weeks to find it. It floated over into the Russian segment and gotten into some vent somewhere. So things float away, and and it's hard to manage that. Yeah, I think the other advantages, though, are that, you can use all sides of your modules. We have workspaces on the ceiling, on the floor, and on both walls, and those are all equally accessible. But the other thing is you open up a bag, and things don't stay where they are. Things just kind of explode out of it. So we've been doing a lot of cargo unpacking, and, sometimes we open up a bag that has, 30 or 40 little Ziploc bags in it, and, boy, it's a struggle sometimes to keep those bags contained.
Last question for Jack before our provost has a few words of thanks. Jack, how has your War College education helped you as an astronaut?
The Naval War College and really all the war colleges are teaching people or helping people learn how to think in a bigger perspective, right? To take the knowledge that they've taken from their tactical community and learn about the operational and the strategic levels of war, and get opinions and thoughts and experiences from people with different backgrounds, which is why, the student body there is made up of people from all the services, from the State Department and all sorts of other government and non-government entities, because people have different perspectives based on where they come from and how they solve problems and the things that they value. So when you go to the War College and you come away from that, you've taken something that you've been great at, the tactical level of war, and you show up and you learn how to think bigger and think wider and think with different perspectives. And all that is directly translatable to space. And because we're an international partnership that's trying to accomplish this incredibly complex task, we have this incredibly large team on the ground that supports us all the time, and they have part of the story, and we have part of the story up here, and part of the story is at one of the control centers halfway around the world. And being able to think from that larger perspective while we all have these shared simultaneous goals is something that I think you guys teach and that I learned at the War College and is very applicable to our experience up here on the International Space Station and on human space exploration writ large.
Great. Thank you guys very much. Let me hand this over to our provost, Stephen Mariano, just to say thanks. Really would love to meet either of you in person. Come to Newport anytime.
Great. Thank you, David. And,
we will take you up on that.
Absolutely.
Maybe during restaurant week.
Absolutely. A lot of things have changed here at the War College, but one thing hasn't. And hosting you will be one of those things that will be our pleasure, and we'll probably be able to have a parking place for both of you. So really just wanted to say thanks again for taking the time to work us into your very regimented schedule. So on behalf of Admiral Walker and the entire faculty and staff and the student body here, and those that have got a couple that are probably watching online as well, we just wanted to say thanks for taking the time, and we do want to welcome you back. And although you can't see us, what we're going to have for you when you get here is a couple of highly coveted War College coins If you're not familiar, Chris, with that, I'm sure Jack can explain the coin tradition to you, but we look forward to hosting you here back on Earth when the time is right. Know that the doors will open, and Jack, as a former Halsey guy, you'd be proud of your current set of Halsey students and faculty that are out doing great work, supporting the CENTCOM commander as we speak. So thanks again for what you're doing up there. We look forward to having you back here, and I'm just going to ask the team here in the auditorium for a little round of applause. You can hear us, I hope.
Thanks very much, sir. It was a pleasure to chat with all of you. If there are families out in the audience, we know that the families are the supporters of all that we do. When we go to War College or we're in the fleet, the families are the ones that support us. So thank your families. We appreciate all the support you got us, and thanks to the War College for taking the time to talk with us today. We really appreciate it.
Station, this is Houston ACR, and that concludes our event.
Thank you to all participants. Station, we are now resuming operational audio communications.